So I'm joining you today from my car. I'm feeling a bit dressed up before going into a meeting, but I did want to talk to you about something that I wish someone had helped me acknowledge for myself much sooner, because it would have alleviated so much suffering. And that is that belief that I held on to for a very long time, that my trauma defines me, that it makes me, broken or damaged. If you're here, I want you to know that your trauma does not mean that you're broken or damaged. It actually is the source of your greatest strength and is your greatest asset as well. And that's what I want to talk to you about today, because the truth is, we go through life, and in our early years, I guess for many of us, typically as we're younger or adolescent, things happen to us. And whether it's, for me, it was, I guess, feeling a sense of, family dysfunction, and, going through a divorce, and, struggling with anxiety and depression, and, falling into a vicious cycle of substance abuse, almost losing my dad to suicide, struggling with abandonment issues as well. And whatever it is, that's happened to you, I want to encourage you to think about how it has actually evolved into something that's happened for you. Because we experience these things and they're just so shocking, and they can hurt us, and they can distort our view of the world. Like, for so long, I felt like the odd one out. I looked at other people's families and other people's lives, and then I'd look at my own, and I consistently compare myself and feel like, man, I'm not enough, or there's something wrong with me, or why did this happen to me? And we have to understand that coming from this place, as harsh as it may sound, is a victim mindset. The truth is, this, I truly believe, has happened for you for a very important reason: to prepare you for the greatest breakthrough and evolution of your life. I 100% believe that. I can look back now with confidence and in hindsight and see how all of the things that happened, to me in childhood and growing up, and, the mistakes that I made, and the traumas, the emotional hardships that I faced in my life, actually equipped me with the knowledge and the depth of character and the wisdom and the resilience to overcome even greater challenges in my life. It made me stronger mentally, and I'm gotten to a place now where I'm very grateful for them. And that's what I want for you, because if you're here, then I suspect you may have experienced some form of trauma earlier on in your life. Maybe you're experiencing some form of trauma right now, and I think for many of us, when this happens, quote unquote, to us, like I said before, and I'm no exception, I went into this internal dialogue that revolved around, man, why is this happening to me? I can't believe I have to go through this again. Like, I haven't done anything wrong. I'm doing the best that I can, and all of this stuff is happening to me. And then, we start to fall into this, like, pattern of asking questions like, why do bad things happen to good people? And for so long, I did know the answer to that question, but now I realize bad things happen to good people because it actually uncovers the seed for their greatest growth throughout life. So what is required, though, to really identify the seed and plant it and sprout up even something more powerful and energizing and fulfilling, is the meaning that you attach to it, right? A classic example is, so I I guess throughout my childhood growing up, I perceived my father to be someone very emotionally closed off. At least to me, it seemed as though he embodied those old masculine stereotypes of like, the man is the provider of the family. He needs to man up and not show any emotion because emotion is a sign of weakness, and he needs to just soldier on, no crying, just working. In fact, one of the narratives that I heard time and time again throughout my childhood was put up, shut up, and get on with it, right? And so I interpreted this, whenever I would experience a challenge, and, little Dave wanted to cry and to express and to feel the emotions. I experienced a trauma, because trauma isn't something that happens outside of us. I like what Gabor Mate says. Trauma is something that happens inside of you. It is a rejection of the expression of that emotion, or a suppression of that emotion. And so that happened inside of me. And so for so long, like, the meaning that I attached to that is, I grew up into someone who believed that they just had to work hard to feel loved, made many bad choices on account of this unhealthy relationship that I had with myself and my masculinity. And I blamed my dad. And if you're blaming, your family or your loved ones or your guardians or whoever, was the source of this trauma, that's okay. That's completely natural and completely normal. I think that's part of the evolution of consciousness that you go through until you're able to see the situation in a new light. And I think that's the key here. The key is to actually acknowledge, for me, that my father did the best that he could with the tools that he had and the trauma that he passed down from his own family, and, witnessing domestic violence and abuse and alcoholism, and not having the tools to be able to process and heal these things, and growing up into someone who, embodied these characteristics, and seeing it for what it is, changing the meaning that I attached to it, and seeing this, trauma as not something that has limited me, but something that encouraged me to go deeper into myself and change how I view my masculinity, and use it as an opportunity to not be like that, to be someone who can feel their emotions, who is in touch with their feelings, who can cry, who can talk about what they're going through openly, actually led me and inspired me to create one of the most, amazing, fulfilling projects and businesses in the mental health space. And that all happened because I changed my perspective of my trauma. Instead of seeing it for something that was limiting me, that made me think that, was damaging, I chose to look at it from a perspective of strength, resilience, and learning. So again, what you have experienced is not something that has been handed to you to show you that you're damaged or broken or not enough, because none of that is true. In fact, it is actually your greatest blessing and gift as soon as you're able to see it in this light and choose to change the relationship that you have with your trauma, seeing it as an opportunity to tap into greater levels of strength and resilience and learning. What can I learn from this? How can I grow from this? What is this trying to teach me? Why is this happening for me? What is this trying to, what kind of potential is this trauma trying to unlock within me? Are some great questions that you can ask yourself to start changing your perspective. Why is that important? Because your perspective creates your reality. Tony Robbins puts it very well. We don't experience life, we experience life, the life that we focus on. So right now, you can choose to focus on the good things that are happening in your life and what you have and what you're grateful for, or you can choose to focus on what you don't have and the lack and the scarcity. On the one hand, you can choose to view your trauma as something that is limiting you and damaging you and holding you back, Or you can choose to look at the lesson, the good in the situation, what it's trying to teach you. So your perspective, your perception is everything. And that's what I'm encouraging you to think about here, because as soon as that you're able to change your perception and attach a new meaning to it, right? Just like Wayne Dyer says, when you change the way you look at something, the thing you look at changes. And that's what happened to me. As soon as I saw this trauma as something that was actually empowering me, that was trying to birth something, fulfilling and meaningful through me, I felt different. I didn't feel like a victim anymore. I felt like someone who was energized and fueled by this trauma, because, like the name of the video suggests, your trauma is your greatest asset. It is the source of your greatest strength. So I really, really encourage you to think about how you can change your relationship with it, what you can be doing differently in terms of using your perception for you as opposed to against you. And, I just want to thank you for being in this conversation and sharing your time and energy with me, because, I love you so much. There's nothing wrong with you at all. I truly mean that. This is purely a matter of your perception. I'm right here with you. And I can't wait to see how you're going to transform this trauma into your greatest source of strength, courage, resilience, and power. So lots of love. Have a really beautiful day, and I'll see you tomorrow.